Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is John J Gaming on the mic here, coming at you with something a little bit different. As you guys can see over here, I actually was reached out to by the folks over at Wolverine Studios to help spread the word about their newest college football game that they just released, actually roughly about a week ago as the recording of this video. So this is College Football 2023, and I'm really interested to see how this game plays out. I've tested out a couple of times just to make sure the game actually does work for me. So gonna be really interested to see how this game is. And if you like this kind of little raw review of the game, make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you have to be brand new. And also, if you guys are really interested in this game, I will have a link to where you can download and purchase the game in the description. But yeah, man, let's go ahead and check it out, see what they got going on. So they do only have one major mode. They do have it in a few different segments. You can only do a franchise dynasty mode. There is no play now kind of mode, and I'll kind of explain why that's the case later on. But there's multiple options that you can do. You could either have a career mode where you become a head coach of one of the teams and, you know, try to work your way up, and it's basically, you know, either sink or swim, right? Like either you're good enough to be a collegiate head coach or not. Sandbox, control as many teams you like. Very good if you're trying to run like a single player sim league or something like that, kind of to have that, you know, noticed bias. And then multiplayer, so that if you know if there's some friends that also have the game as well, you can set up a multiplayer mode to go with it. So a few different modes that we can go. I'm going to go for the sandbox because you already know how we like to do things around here. But we got that's going to bring us here to the new league option. So we're going to go ahead and do the John J Gaming League. Now, there's multiple options that you can do. There's a modern college 1 format, but then there's also this custom format, which has multiple options. Seems like there's a teams file that wants us to draw out of. Not exactly sure how to go about this, but if I can figure this out, and if it's something that you guys would be interested in as well, then maybe we could do a little bit of a Division 3 football dynasty, maybe over on the Twitch. Let me know down in the comments if you would be interested in something like that. I'll have to figure out how to go about getting a custom format going. I'll have to talk to the devs about that. But for now, we'll just go ahead and rock with the modern College 1 format. We do have also several options. We could go with the CPU generated rosters that are provided and generated by the game itself, or if we want to feel a little bit spicy, maybe get the actual players up in there, we could do a custom user generated roster. That is something that we could possibly do moving forward, but for now I'm just going to keep things the same. Now, we do also have multiple playoff structures. It could be set up to where there could be no playoff, and that means whoever's #1 rated team in college football at the end of the regular season and the conference championship, then it'd be basically like that. It'd be before a national championship game even existed. And then there's also other formats. 2-team playoff, that is the reminiscent of the BCS era. 4-team playoff, that's what we got going right now. 8-team, which I think would be the perfect amount, and then 16-team if you're feeling really spicy. Again, I'm just going to keep it at 4 teams. And then we do even have the choice to decide what starting year we want to go with. Gonna go rock with 2022 because it's 2022 college football, baby. That's where we're at. It also allows the options for if you're able to be fired, disabled injuries, a bunch of other stuff. So we're gonna keep all of this the same for now, and we're gonna go ahead and allow this thing to rock while it's creating our new league, and I'll get back to you guys shortly. Alright guys, so we finally ended up loading into the game, and this is what the main screen is going to be looking like. Going to show you what the league name it is. This is the main league office. It's going to show you some league news, top 25, and these things will be added onto as the season progresses. But I wanted to talk to you guys about the top 25, see what's going on down here. So, as it is with Maximum Football, if you guys are aware of Maximum Football, you can't have like the exact college teams in there, but you can kind of have a good idea of who they're supposed to be kind of replacing, if that makes sense. Like, for example, Alabama Red Wave, that's for the Crimson Tide. Georgia Dogs, that's for the Georgia Bulldogs. Ohio State Chestnuts, that's for the Buckeyes. And it's like that for all 131 teams, because we do have a new team in James Madison. But we'll go ahead and look around and see what each thing has in store for us. Going to start with league media, and load times aren't that great, but it is something that they are going to work on, and a lot of cool stuff. It provides a pretty immersive environment. It shows the rating in which they got in the power rankings, and that kind of decides who ends up being ranked in the top 25 or not, and that of course is going to change throughout the course of the year. Highlights, there is highlights that can be shown as well once some games get going. Performers, same thing. News, magazines, there are preseason magazines in this game, and multiple preseason magazines. We have a recruiting preview, we got a college football preview guide, that's like the top 50 players ranked in college football, underrated players. It's really immersive stuff, actually. I really love this. They really go in depth with who are the top players in the country and what school they're going to. So I think that's really cool that they have something like that in the game. They do also have a conferences preview, and it has multiple conferences. Again, not the exact conference name, but the East Coast, that's for the ACC. United Athletic Conference, that's for representing the American. The Mid-South 12, that's the Big 12 Conference, led by the Oklahoma Settlers. Midwest 10, represent the Big 10. Actually, it has 14 teams, going to be up to 16 once USC and UCLA join the group. U.S. Conference, that is for Conference USA. Independents, that's your independent schools that do not have a conference affiliation. I rock with this particular name right here, the Connecticut Snow Dogs. That's a dope little name for sure. Mid-USA, that's for the MAC Conference. Rocky Mountain, that is for the Mountain West. Boise State Mustangs here at the very top. The Western 12, that's for the Pac-12 Conference. And then we just shoot things out. Southern 14, that's for the SEC. And then the Sunshine Conference is representing for the Sun Belt, and that is actually where James Madison is. They're represented by the Harrisonburg Noblemen. So just a cute little tidbit. So they do actually have all 131 teams in actual FBS college football. They are represented in some capacity in this game. Now, there is a couple of other tabs here in the league media if you wanted to check that out. Awards, injuries, training staff as well, your actual staff. Prestige is really interesting. You can see kind of as your dynasty goes on, like who's a real riser, who is falling down as the years go on. And then in recruiting, it shows who has the best in terms of who has the best like quarterback, running back, etc., etc. Ohio State, for example, that's for CJ Stroud, for no better word. And this is what their schedule looks like. And that's another thing too. When you click on another team, it shows up like a little summary of what's going on with their team, like who's their impact players, who's their best guys, how are they doing in terms of key stats. And what's interesting is that their prestige is at from 0 to 100. Ohio State Chestnuts, they're at a 92. And what's cool about it is as the year goes on, there's a prestige meter here, so when it gets to 100, it adds a point to prestige, and if this bar reaches 0, then your prestige goes down, and that's fully determined by how you go about in the season, winning games and getting high profile recruits, winning conference championships. That's going to help that prestige, obviously. And then if you're trash, then your prestige is going to reflect that as well. So that's a really cool thing. Another thing that you could do here is there is an opportunity for you to export your data. It turns it into a Excel spreadsheet. So if you want to take this offline and maybe mod it a little bit, I think it provides that possibility as well. But yeah, some pretty cool stuff here for sure. Other things that it does allow you to do is there's a team info tab, and it will show you each individual team from 1 to 131. Gotta remember that there are 131 teams There's even a fan base rating and a fan approval rating, as well as a bandwagon. Not sure how this affects that dynasty, but I think it's really cool to see how invested each of these fan bases are for their college football program. Surprisingly, Coastal Carolina has the smallest fan base. I'm actually really surprised by that with the success they had. But then at the top, you got Georgia, Ohio State, Alabama. Really no surprises there. So another thing that I wanted to kind of bring up is really what your staff is looking like. So unlike an NCAA 14, I know one complaint about that game is that you don't get the opportunity to go about and hire your own assistants. In college football 2023, you do get the chance to go ahead and do just that. And not only that, you get to set your budget for the year as well. You get allocated a certain amount of money based off of really the program prestige. And you can throw it into a bunch of different things. You could add it into your staff salaries to keep your assistants from going to other schools and maybe being a college coach or not high school, but a college head coach somewhere else. Scouting, you can put that in your scouting budget. You get better, more accurate ratings. Academics, that is to help you in terms of the academic performance of the school, because some players, they do end up going ahead and choosing a school based off its academics. And speaking of recruiting, we'll show you kind of a little bit what the recruit tab is looking like. This is kind of how it is. It shows you kind of a rundown of who is kind of interested. You can sort this in several different ways as well. Recommended players, my commits, scouted, scholarship offers, lost targets, etc., etc. Lots of different ways that you can go ahead and kind of figure out what you want to go in terms of building your program. So let's go to Timothy Wood. Timothy Wood, it actually allows you to edit each individual player if you don't feel like doing that. What's really cool, and this kind of goes into what I was talking about, it shows what they care about. So for example, this player right here, Timothy Wood, he doesn't really care that much about loyalty, but what he does care about is he wants to win, and he kind of cares about his playing time. He don't really care about being close to home or the market size. That doesn't really matter to him necessarily, but with that being said, it shows a bunch of other things. And it's like, kind of makes a player different. Leadership, work ethic, competitiveness, team player, those things matter, and that reflects on the field as well, depending on, you know, what you have him as a team captain or not really. So something that you really have to think about. And you also get talking points. If you want to add him to a target, then you know you got to talk between those points. And we know that this guy really likes winning. We would put a lot there. I'm not going to do that because that would be considered cheating, but it kind of puts the point. It also shows you how many scholarships you have remaining. You do get to have up to 85 hours, or not 85 hours, but 85 players on your team at a time. Here at Ohio State, we do have 21 scholarships, and we do also have a recruiting budget of $200,000 and a scouting budget of $79K. And this is, of course, these are all over the course of the week. We have a lot more than just that in terms of trying to build this program up. Alright, so here we are at the regular season now, and this is kind of what it's showing in terms of week 1. And I think something that is a really neat tool to have is that each individual game has a line. Now, could use a little bit of tweaking. There's not really any lines out there that I think are too egregious, unlike what we see in college football in real life, where we do end up seeing, you know, Ohio State, for example, ending up being a 17-point favorite over a fellow top 5 team. But that being said, really cool stuff here. I like this tab. And what's also really nice about this particular option as well is that you do get the opportunity. You can quick sim. There's multiple ways you can sim. You can sim week 1, sim the regular season. You can even sim up to 1, 3, 5, 10, 15, up to 50 seasons if you wanted to. You could do that right from this screen. But with that being said, I'm sure you want to see how this game actually plays. So I'm going to go ahead and get all that set up, and then I will get back to you, since we technically can't do that here in the sandbox mode. Now, in a league of what I'm doing on my own in terms of when I have free time, I'm actually the coach of the Akron Kangaroos, for example. So for offensive and defensive play calling, you have the option of choosing what you want to utilize. So offensively, you can allow yourself to be the offensive play caller, or you can allow your assistant to be that play caller. Me, y'all already know I'm more of an offensive guy than anything, so I want to call my own offense. But then Douglas Dewey is my defensive coordinator. I'm going to use his defensive playbook in terms of going ahead and building my defense. And it also gives you plenty of options in terms of how you want to go about building your offensive game plan, what your tempo is going to be. I can move this out to where I can go about, setting my tempo to be a little bit faster. I can choose who my passing preference is, how I want to go about setting who my primary receivers, third down backs, etc. Defensively, I can do the same thing. Plus, I have the option as well, if I want to, I can create a new playbook. So if you want to build your own playbook and, go about trying to dominate your college football league in that way, you can do that. Didn't have the time to explore that fully yet, but I really love that the folks over at Wolverine Studios did end up adding a custom playbook feature. I think that's a really cool thing to have. There's also a couple of other things that there is that is available for you to look at. So it actually breaks you down like by play analysis. This is from the one game that I had, which I did end up losing. I actually blew it in Florida State-like fashion, or at least Florida State should have blown it last night. I'm recording this the day after the Florida State LSU games. That's so in case you're wondering when I'm recording it, there you go. But it shows what my opponents did, as well as what I did and how it ended up going. I had a really good running game, but my passing game really wasn't like that. Again, like to throw it short, need to show a little bit more aggressive in the future, but it really breaks it down to, it really helps you figure out what works and what doesn't work, if that makes any sense. But with all that being said, let's go ahead and show you guys what I'm looking at in terms of how, when you're actually playing in the game. I'll see you guys on the field. Alright guys, so this is what the screen will look like when you go in about like actually playing the game. Now, we did end up losing the coin toss and deferring to the second half. So right from the get-go, we do get an opportunity. We can see what we want to go. Do we think they're going to do onside kick, or are we going to do a regular kickoff formation? We're going to go ahead and just do the kickoff. And Texas State, they're going to go ahead and kick this thing away, and it ends up being returned, and we get a decent little return out of it. We do end up bringing it to about the 24-yard line. So now we get to decide what offensive package we want to go into. We have multiple packages we can do. We can even get the backups in as well, if in the event that there is a blowout. Obviously, that can happen for sure. So it also shows you when you're picking your play. I'm going to go with 2 tight end. Shows you what I plan on doing. Basically, one of those, we're going to run it right up your gut and make sure you see who really wants it like that. And we get a decent run right off the book. We get a 6-yard rush from Jason Howard. And what's also nice about this game, if you want to kind of speed run the game and you don't want to, fiddle with all these options, it kind of gives you like a recommended option if you want to go about doing that. If not, if you're feeling more adventurous, then you can of course choose from where you want to go with your formations. But we're going to go with this RPO, see if we can stretch things to the left, see if we can pick up this first down as well. And we actually try to throw it, and we're intercepted. We end up getting picked off. So a tough break for us to start this game, man. We turn the football over, and now we're going to have to rely on our defense. So our defense starting off in the 32-yard line. We're going to line up in the nickel, and we'll see if Texas State passes the football, and they do. And they actually pick up a good few yards there. Now, the interesting thing about this game as well is that it gives you a rundown of what happens as the play is moving along. So it starts with, Glenn Jorgensen dropping back. It shows you what he's planning on doing, even if he's catching it nicely with his body. So really not a big deal by any stretch of the imagination, but it's a nice little touch. I actually like this touch. You love to see it. But yeah, we are in some trouble right now. We are already in the red zone, so we really need our defense to come ahead and make a play for us here as we do force a 4-yard penalty. But Texas State is going to be called for the false start too. Let's go, man. So that's going to back them up a little bit. We'll see if we have what it takes to actually make some things happen here. As Cruz does carry it for another few yards, it makes it 3rd and 6 from the 9-yard line. Now, it wants us to be in a dime prevent, but you know me, I don't trust dime. I think we're gonna go ahead. We're gonna do a 4-3 under and see if we can find. We're gonna do a cover 1 since we are in the red zone. I think we'll be okay with that. Except there's a penalty. It's on us. It's a neutral zone infraction. So now we're here. It's 3rd and short. We'll see if our defense can make a stand here. Force them to kick the field goal. And we give up the touchdown, man. You hate to see it. We also end up giving up the field goal as well. Now, one thing that you can do if you don't feel like doing the offensive and defensive play calling, you can also slide these down. And it'll basically allow the game to kind of simulate for you. You can even adjust the animation speed. You can even watch this game in full screen. I already have it in full screen because we were like that. But yeah, man, really cool stuff. That is actually the end of the 4th quarter, though. We get to the end of the game. And it was actually it didn't show there, but we do eventually end up winning this game. 28-24 being the final score. But guys, I think I'm going to wrap this up here. Let me know, by the way, if you want me to try to set something up with a Division 3 dynasty, and maybe we can do some things on Twitch in the future. Again, I hope you really enjoyed this episode. I really want to take the time to thank the folks over at Wolverine Studio for, giving me a chance to check out their game, man. This is a really nice game. I like playing it occasionally on my free time, and it's actually something I enjoy. So what I'm telling you to do this is not just because it's a paid sponsorship thing or anything like that. Because it's definitely not. I highly recommend you guys checking out that game, and this will be linked in the description. So if you want to purchase it and give it a chance, that will be available to you guys. It is currently out. It's only for $40 as of the recording of this video. And of course, you guys already know, with my support of smaller studios out there, that for these smaller devs, man, every purchase goes towards helping out this company and making a better product for the future. So make sure if you're interested, go ahead and check that out. But if you enjoyed my little test run of College Football 2023 hosted by Wolverine Studios, make sure you go ahead, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button as well if you do have to be brand new to the channel to go with it. I not only talk about some of the indie games out there, not only College Football 2023 from Wolverine Studios, but I also talk about Axis Football. I talk about the Maximum Football as well, the Maximum Football game that's coming up, Varsity Football. That's another one of those things. And also, nice little thing right here, it shows the highlights from each game. Kind of a cool feature. Just love seeing that kind of stuff. You'll love to see it. But yeah, man, this is John J Gaming with the mic signing off. Hoping you guys are all out there having a good one. Take care, everybody.